Corbin officials blame heavy rain and old pipes for the sewage spilling out of manholes. And a driver faces charges after a tanker catches fire, damaging a road.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 5:59 on this Thursday, February the 21st. I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for tuning in to Mountain News This Morning. It's been a soggy week, and that forecast continues through the end of this week. But Brandon, Thursday shouldn't be too bad. But you said right there in that break that we actually just had something issued for a kind of that we should be paying attention to on Saturday, right?
Yes, this weekend. I'll talk more about that main weather here in just a couple of minutes. But as we go to the live pinpoint Doppler radar this morning, you can see rain free. You still see some green on there, and that's all those flood warnings that are still in effect for parts of East Tennessee, southeast Kentucky, and up along the Kentucky River in several counties. Visibility pretty rough this morning, so be careful of that. Getting a little bit better in Pikeville, up to 7 miles now, 2.5 at Logan and Wise. So if you're on right there along the border, those border counties of Kentucky, Virginia, and West Virginia, pretty foggy this morning. 37 Morehead, 52 Jacksboro, everybody else falling in between this morning. Wind still kind of cranking there a little bit, so maybe just a little bit of a chill in the air. You'll feel that as you head out the door, but for the most part, a dry start to the day. Don't forget, though, we'll still have those rivers rising and cresting as all that water continues to pour into it. You may still have some water over roads and some mudslides that are active this morning as well, so keep that in mind. Temperatures climbing right around 55 this afternoon. Some sunshine briefly, and then more clouds as that next system moves its way in here tonight. Rest of the forecast on the way in a few minutes.
All righty, Brandon, thank you. Well, people in Rockcastle County say water continued to rise yesterday. People eating at a restaurant on Lake Linville had quite the view. The once scenic lake became simply surprising. Where you used to be able to walk or drive would require a boat. People, there say as quickly as the water came, it went. But with more rain on the way this weekend, they're keeping a close eye on things.
If it gets any higher, I'm not going to be going because it's almost, it's not to the road, but it's getting there.
Now, officials in Clay County urged everyone to be extremely careful yesterday. Some creeks and streams started to overflow their banks. Here are some of the pictures they posted. They include pictures of covered roads and flooding near Eddie White Memorial Park. Meanwhile, officials blocked off parts of the Cumberland Falls State Park yesterday. The water was beginning to overflow its banks. Meteorologist Paige Noel caught up with people checking out the incredible sight.
150,000. That is about how many gallons rush over the Cumberland Falls per second.
It's a possibility of reaching, the highest. Yeah, it can get up over the sidewalk. And man, it's been up close to 30,000 maybe a week or two ago, so it's been higher already this year.
Even with the break from the rain, naturalist Brett Smitley says the worst is yet to come.
The Cumberland River above the falls drains about 2,000 square miles of land, so you figure however much rain they've gotten from like Harlan area and all the way down, yeah, it can rise quite a bit more than it is now.
And despite the rainy day, visitors from around eastern Kentucky flocked to the falls to see what it was all about.
Just to see the water.
Take pictures. Raining too much though, really.
Charles and Brenda live in Corbin, but visit the falls often. But this visit was different for them.
Just something to see. Something you don't usually see.
A sight many are coming to experience.
Now the river is expected to crest by this afternoon. The Williamsburg location is expected to reach minor flood stage at 22.7 feet. That is forecast through Saturday afternoon. With more rain anticipated, it is likely we will see values even higher towards the weekend. Well, manholes in Corbin were spilling sewage into streets during heavy rains. Officials at the Corbin City Utilities Commission say the manholes on Master Street were spilling sewage, and they say 100-year-old fragile pipes are to blame. They say in its current condition, there's not much that they can do to keep the sewage from spilling out, but can only deal with the problems after.
There's nothing we can do while it's overflowing, but after it overflows and the water goes back down, we do go to those areas and clean the site up and disinfect it with chlorine.
Now, officials say they have already had to raise their rates up to 30% for their current projects and hope to find funding soon to fix the manholes. Well, power is coming back on after a tree fell on some power lines and caused a transformer to explode. WYMT Director Josh Turner, who's behind the punches right now, captured the blast on his cell phone. You can see the orange glow and hear the electric hum before you see a bright flash like that one and hear several pops. It happened right behind Crow Tire on Main Street. A fence was damaged when the tree fell, but the business was not. Crews expect to have power restored to everyone sometime this morning. A constant headache. That is what a mudslide on Kentucky 1428 in Floyd County is becoming for transportation officials. I was there yesterday as officials waited to clean it up again. On rainy days, you can normally hear the sound of raindrops falling on a roadway. Along 1428 in Floyd County, you can hear much more than that. This is the 6th mudslide since the beginning of the year.
It's been pretty frustrating because you're always out here around the clock trying to get it cleaned up for the traffic to come through.
Wednesday marks 51 days into 2019, and crews from the Transportation Cabinet spent the day babysitting this pesky mudslide.
Be patient with us. We'll get the road clean and get it open back so they can get through.
Mud across the roadway, trees moving a concrete barrier. Officials say the cleanup is no easy task.
You never know when it's going to break loose and come again, so we just try to monitor that to try to keep an eye out for them and make sure that they're safe in there when they're working. As the mud and water flows from above, cascading down the hillside, officials say they'll get to work when Mother Nature lets them. They're going, hopefully, if the weather permits, which I kind of doubt it.
As they wait to clean up a slide that just won't stop. Now, some scary moments on a highway in Hawaii after a series of landslides. There was a small landslide on Monday. Then a larger slide caused authorities to eventually shut down the Kailua-bound lanes of the highway. Multiple people got hurt in the second larger slide. Work to stabilize hillsides on that highway could continue through the week. A massive winter storm walloped parts of the country with snow, sleet, and freezing rain yesterday. Icy roads left drivers spinning their wheels in Minnesota. A school bus carrying students slid into a ditch in Wisconsin. Authorities urged drivers to use caution. In Cumberland, Maryland, there were reports of thunder snow. Further north, New Jersey's governor declared a state of emergency.
Because of the anticipated change from snow to a wintry mix just in time for folks to be leaving work.
Now, New York City braced for several inches before the storm moves into New England. More than 1,800 airline flights were canceled because of the storm. Police in New Jersey say winter conditions were a factor in a deadly crash there Wednesday. 2 people were killed when several cars collided in Pemberton, about 30 miles east of Philadelphia. 2 other people involved in the accident were taken to the hospital. Their conditions are unknown. About 2 to 4 inches of snow fell across the Delaware Valley Wednesday, causing accidents, flight delays, and school closures. Well, take a look at this picture. The driver of a Dollar General 18-wheeler found themselves in a bad situation. The back end of the truck dropped off the right fork of Maces Creek Road in Perry County. We have not been able to find out if the truck has been moved yet. Well, a fuel tanker flipped and burst into flames after the driver swerved to avoid hitting a deer. Emergency officials in Bountyport, Virginia say about 8,500 gallons of gasoline and diesel fuel ignited early Wednesday. The driver was able to get out before the truck caught fire and was not hurt. Some of the fuel was getting dangerously close to some structures, but no homes or other buildings caught fire. Fuel, however, got inside an underground drainage pipe and caused it to collapse. Damage to the road was so extensive a detour was set up. The driver now faces reckless driving charges. An investigation is underway after a heated exchange at a high school basketball game. It happened Tuesday night at a district tournament game between Estill and Owsley counties. Owsley is hosting the 56th district tournament, and during the game, an Estill County fan came down to the Owsley bench. That fan and a few sitting behind with him were escorted out. Owsley County Sheriff Brent Lynch asked some other fans to leave because of the language they were using.
A dry but foggy start to the morning, thankfully drying out just a little bit before our next system moves in. But again, we are watching the possibility for those rivers to continue to rise even after the rain has stopped, because that's the way it works. Let's take a look at the cameras this morning. Buffalo Mountain all quiet, and maybe some fog in some areas this morning, but you can see the lights there in the distance over at UVA Wise and Southwest Virginia. We're looking at, again, some fog and some low clouds, so be careful out there. Flood warning still in effect for a bunch of the rivers in the eastern and southern counties, back out toward the west and north as well. So we're keeping a close eye on that, but line pinpoint Doppler radar dry. Areas near the border of Kentucky, Virginia, and West Virginia seeing lots of fog this morning, and temperatures anywhere between 37 in Moorhead and Richmond to 52 in Jacksboro and in Wise. Will?
All righty. Well, thank you for joining Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. It includes the East Kentucky Science Center and Planetarium has a new state-of-the-art lighting system. Plus, a new music festival is coming to Lexington.